Okay, here's another League of Legends game coming your way, this time with Malzahar mid. Don't know if you guys are getting tired of seeing him, but he's my go-to guy for blind picking and ranked. Anyway, I'm going over the lane matchups here. I'm doing post-commentary if you couldn't tell. Malzahar mid against Brand. We have Wukong top against Kassadin, Caitlyn, and Sion bot. I don't remember who the enemy had. And we have Jarvan jungle. Right here, I just don't know where Jarvan's starting, so right now I'm killing time to wait for him to basically tip his hand. And he wants to go red, so no problem for me. And where to begin for this game? One thing that I'm going to be doing different from my normal Malzahar type games is that if you notice the enemy team's composition, they have a Braum support, now that I remember. They have absolutely no tank there. The closest thing they have is Braum. So if I actually go the normal Rylai's Liandry's route, I'm going to be dealing less damage than if I just stack AP. So for that reason, I'm not going for my usual build, and I'm just going in favor of the max damage route. So right there I did some damage to Brand, but he does have the range advantage on me with his W. I can't remember what the damn thing's called at the moment. And you can see that they were waiting there and they did a little number on Kate. Right there I'm mousing over the moves. If you want to pause it to read, go ahead. Your passive as Malzahar is summon the Voidling after a few spells, something like 4 or 5. You will summon a Voidling to come out and assist you. The Voidling has 1-to-1 AD scaling, which is the secret to AD Malzahar. I don't know how the attack speed is affected, but for it to work, you basically need a ton of CDR and get as many Voidlings out as possible, and have the Voidlings do your dirty work. Eat your heart out, Azir. Your Q, I don't remember the name of it, but it's a very telegraphed skill shot of sorts. Nice thing about it is I think it's the longest silence in the game now. When you max it, it goes all the way up to 3 seconds, and it's AoE. So you can really do a number on an enemy team if you're able to land it. In other videos, you see me mess people up with Zhonya's Hourglass by timing the delay to hit them as soon as they leave Zhonya's. And I think I even do it in this game too, except with, well, not with the Zhonya's, but you'll see. W is Null Zone. It's a % hit point shred move, and like I said, the enemy team doesn't have a tank. They don't really have anyone that's going to be stacking HP, so I'm not going to get much mileage out of that this game. So right there, Brand does pick me off, but he had to use everything on that. So he's pretty much a sitting duck, especially if Jarvan decides to show up, since he doesn't have an escape of his own to do anything to extend his life. But since it was so brief, I went for the Amp Tome so I'd have more power to push and trade. I think Brand goes for Chalice or something like that, doesn't really matter. Anyway, your E is Malefic Visions. It's Malzahar's signature move. It's a targeted ability, damage over time, and it's just an all-around nasty spell. Has pretty nice base damage, pretty decent AP scaling, I don't know the numbers offhand. But you drop a debuff on the enemy that lasts for something like 5 seconds. And the thing is, if the enemy that has it dies, it spreads and refreshes, moving to a new target. It's kind of like Atomic Green Lantern's Meltdown ult, except his doesn't actually refresh, so Malzahar's is that much superior. And finally, your ult is one of the few suppression type moves in the game. There's 4 currently, and as of the Warwick rework, it's going down to 3. But you lock the enemy down, they are unable to defend themselves. Any of your other moves that are in effect will still go off. Your delayed Q, the Null Zone on your W, the Malefic Visions on your E, and even the Voidling can all go to town on your unlucky victim, and it just sucks to be them. So right there, you saw Brand took some Voidling harass as well as the Visions, and he can't afford to do that again. Your Visions really are that brutal. And let's see, he has the components for the Chalice, but he doesn't have the actual thing yet, which is actually kind of bad for him. The Visions do give you a mana refund if the target that has it dies, regardless of whether or not you get the last hit. So that's why I'm able to spam my spells here, while poor Brand, he has 2 Fairy Charms to sustain him. I think the Visions have to bounce something like 4 or 5 times in order to actually regenerate the entire cost for you. And that's not counting any regen you'd get from the actual kill from the Duran Ring. The mana regen of the Duran Ring are just your own passive regen, so you can profit by just using your Visions properly. I try to time the Null Zone with the Visions to actually take down the siege minions, otherwise it's too hard. And right there you saw a ward go down the top rush. I made sure to point it out, so we know the bug is around. With Brand there, I figure, okay, he's far enough back, I can actually go ward that in case the bug is sticking around, and lo and behold, he pinked it. So not much I can do here, and I figure if I didn't flash that, Brand probably would have gone all in or Kha'Zix, and I would have died. So right there I'm warning one of my teammates. I think Wukong's the one who actually comes and takes it out. But right there I can go ahead and pick up the Chalice, and that's going to give me some protection against Brand. It's going to help with his passive and just some of his regular damage, so all around a good pickup. And as for Kassadin, I wouldn't blind pick Kassadin really ever, because if you do, you run into an AD opponent like Wukong, and he's just going to tear you apart. So right there, Wukong cleared it out, and they managed to take out my trinket, and they really didn't get anything else off of it. Bug goes down, I guess he teleported bot or something. No. But I show up because we have everyone in one place, they don't have a jungler, basically free dragon. Now, sadly, this is going to mess with my CSing, but all in all, the objective is really much more important. The entire team wins as an effect of that, and I can just go back here and finish shoving this into the turret. And Jarvan's pointing out his part where he's been involved in every single kill up to this point. And all in all, it's pretty good for him. It's going to get him snowballing. He can actually contribute more to the lanes. It's not really going to be able to do much to Kassadin because of Riftwalk. But Brand and the bottom lane are a fair game, so he always has those. So right here I'm going to get the blue buff. Not really needed, but it's just going to allow me to spam all the more, so I'll take it. Plus it's CDR, so I can get the spells off all the more quickly and just make Brand miserable. He does have the range advantage, but I can use my visions and my other moves to farm from a distance, actually outside of his range, and he does have to watch out for the visions bouncing onto him. As for that, he managed to save his life by timing his stun to interrupt my silence. And right there he missed his seer, so nothing for him. Notifying Jarvan that Brand is pretty much a free kill, but I don't think Jarvan's actually... Here comes Wukong. I don't remember if we got him or not. So right there, I just want to try to harass him to make sure he doesn't see us too well. He does have the kill, but that's not really enough to stop me. I don't really know what he was running for runes and masteries. Kassadin goes down, but I'm guessing he probably had something for more early power than late, because you'll see what I do to him as time goes by. So he took a piece out of Jarvan. He wants to go after Wukong, who's sieging the tower. I was wondering, is Brand actually going to do that or no? And lo and behold, he does. So silence, null zone, drop the ward in there so that he can't retreat, and he decides to go all in here. Sadly, you'll notice my ult is not off cooldown yet, so I can't save Jarvan. Needed 5 more seconds, but all in all, we both get a kill. Thing is, I'm going to push that into the top turret, and Kassadin will show up to basically stop the push, sadly. And I silence the bug, but there's Riftwalk. Can't really stop both of them. Wukong, yeah, there's nothing I could do for him. As for right here, I'm torn over what I want to do. If I leave, Kassadin's going to push us into the tower. But if I stick around too long, it'd be bad for me. They could try a dive. It might not work too well for them, but basically I have a lot of gold and not a lot of items, which is not a good mix at the moment. So I just was trying to decide whether or not the sorcerers or the Grail would be better, but I think the Grail would offer more. It gives me more protection from their team since they have so much AP. If you're wondering, Kha'Zix's W, I believe, is magic damage, so it even helps our... either his W or his passive, I don't remember which one, but it does help me against Kha, Braum, Brand, Kassadin. All in all, a really good pickup. And right here, Jarvan takes a lot of damage, but we still manage to turn things around. Sion shows up, he whiffs, Kassadin's porting in, and we aren't going to lose Sion here, but now he's going to do his whole undead rage thing. I did not want to ult before Braum used his ult because he'd just interrupt me. So with the Braum ult out of the way, Kassadin can go down, and now it's me and Brand. I don't have my ult, but I have Ignite, so I'll take the kill. Caitlyn shows up, she could push, but I picked up... I did stick around. I did have enough money to go back for Sorcerer's Shoes, or I could go back for a Blasting one and go straight towards the Death Cap. Really had options, doesn't matter which way I went. I have to pick up both anyway. And they have Ashe as their AD carry, so the Crystal Arrow is also magic damage, so I do get protection from the entire team by getting that Grail. And by sticking around, I did manage to pick up enough to just go straight into the Needle to the Large Rod, and just all the more pain I'm going to be inflicting on them. Right here we're passing the halfway point of the game. You can see that Kha'Zix still does not have his jungle item. He went for really early Moby boots, and I don't really think it paid off for him. Dragons respawning, we're all in the area. So once again we're going to pick up another objective. I'm dropping the ward there so that if Brand shows up we can try to ambush him. But lo and behold, Braum drops a ward to rain on our parade. With Liandry's I actually could do a number on the dragon, but like I said, it's not actually going to help for the PvP component because they don't have tanks. Here I'm not a tank buster, I'm just an ordinary mage. Don't really know what they were thinking during Champion Select, but yeah. And ironically, there was a lot less rage than I'd expect, since usually people tend to blow ranked games out of proportion. So Kassadin does his whole jump burst thing, but he's not doing too hot, so I didn't really have too much to fear. I can go ahead and clear that. We lost Jarvan. And went to Kassadin too. So that does help put him back into the game. We do have a team fight brewing, it looks like. Sion got his knock up. Ooh, Kate ate the crystal arrow. But we actually do have some pretty good synergies here with Sion. I don't remember what his Q is called. Wukong Cyclone, my Null Zone. All of these AoE just makes it real miserable to beat them. And you can see I took down Brand. Sion took down Ashe all by himself. And poor Kassadin. He has to run from the Voidling, and even if he tries to hide there, I can force him out with my Q. And he goes, I take his double buffs and the shutdown bonus he somehow managed to pick up. So, like I typed in there, it's a pretty action-packed game. Definitely not boring like some of the other farm-centric games that I play. Hopefully it does keep you guys entertained, focused, etc., etc. Plus, this is my first time ever seeing Sion support, so I didn't really know what to expect. All in all, I do have to say I'm pretty pleased with the result. But without my flash, I had to prioritize the Sorcerer's Shoes there. Otherwise, Kassadin, Brand, Kha just be ugly. Does mean delaying the power from my Rabadons, but Malz has some pretty decent base damage, so I can get by just fine. As for right here, all the lanes have won for the most part. Not really expecting a 20-minute surrender because it is a ranked game, but it's still getting really, really one-sided. Sion does give some information about how the support thing works if you're interested. Not really interested myself. I actually recently downgraded my support pool. And lo and behold, Brand is getting tower dove. Sadly, he does dodge enough to where I don't get the assist, but he still goes down, and we are now in position to take the tower. Voidling's able to take the aggro until the minion wave shows up. And right there, gold for us. More map pressure. And the noose around their neck is tightened slightly more. Right there, Kassadin had to eat my E, and I was able to come back and pick off the bug. As for Braum, I wasn't actually sure which way he was going, but I can hit him with the Q and W, and that alone was enough for the kill. 8-1-2. Even though I think more of these are mostly KS's. It's up to you. I did deal the most damage out of the entire team this game. I think it was something like 30% more than Kate. But your AD carry should be the one attacking the towers while you hold everyone at bay, so that kind of makes sense.
Without question.
Yeah, a pretty one-sided game. Right here we're passing the 3/4 mark, and you can see that it's just getting worse from here. Right now, they've actually completely lost control of the game. You could argue that they never really did have control of it because they had a poor draft. But their only way to win is for us to mess up. And to make things worse for them, we actually have a decent amount of CC at our disposal. Sion has a stun, Jarvan and Wukong have knockups, I have a suppress, Caitlyn has a snare. As for them, Kassadin has a slow, Brand has a one-man stun, Kha'Zix has slows. Yeah, it was just a really, really bad draft for them. As for the bug, that scarab is now extinct, and we're able to go on the top. But right there you can kind of see what I meant by saying the Liandrys and Rylais just aren't really a good pickup this game. They're not tanky enough to actually take advantage of it. Raw AP is the way to go here. And I wonder what that graphic thing was that Kate applied. I'm not really familiar with her Headhunter skin and all the graphics that go with it. I don't know if that was maybe from a Yordle snap trap or what. Anyway, I'm digressing. So Kassadin went in, Scion axed the wrong way. Kate took some poke because she went too far up. Something you do have to keep in mind when you're playing against Ashe, even if you are Kate, because that's the second highest base range against you. As for right here, Kate accidentally takes the blue, doesn't really matter. It does mean that I'm not going to have enough mana to fight immediately after the dragon, but we can still secure the objective and then go back and try to wrap things up. And if you're looking at the clock, you can definitely see that I am serious about wrapping things up from here. Don't know if Jarvan missed the smite or what. Doesn't really matter though, because the enemy jungler wasn't even nearby, and right here I didn't actually think about it, but my visions actually set Scion up to use his relic shield pretty much perfectly. So he burns all of his stacks, and I don't look like one of those jerk mid laners who steals all the CS for myself, just due to the slow kill from your visions. As for right there, Scion kept them zoned. Wukong misses the Cyclone because Kha'Zix jumped down at the last second. And right there, that's enough to push the wave. I was thinking about trying to do a one-man siege mid while they came around, but the enemy is actually somewhat converging over there, so action to be found, I need to get over there. Right there I did save Jarvan's life by scaring off the bug, and he can get the hell out of there. As for Braum, he tries to juke us with a blind spot move, which is pretty good on his part, just doesn't work. I ended up taking tower due to visions. Drawback about dots, I guess. But we're able to take this. And Wukong even does number on Brand and forces his flash. Now we have our pick on where we want to siege. We can either go bottom, which would generate pressure on the Baron. We can go mid, which could potentially set up the other ones. And here's Kassadin. Goodbye, Kassadin. So yes, that really did just happen. Voidling and Ignite for the win. Don't really know what he was thinking, but the whole Kassadin Malzahar dynamics really does favor Malzahar after Kassadin got all of those changes, most important of all, losing his silence. And I get to go ahead and burn all of that gold I racked up to pick up a Void Staff, and I can start going into Azonia's Hourglass to dodge a Pyroclasm or a Crystal Arrow or something along those lines. And right there, Scion's explaining a little bit about the whole support thing. And if you're not aware, Scion has a metal boot in place of where he lost one of his legs. I think he has something on his arm, I don't really remember. I never really was a fan of the character, and I'm not really in any rush to play the rework. Key thing is, he actually does have CC to layer with all of ours, so if we lock someone down, they are staying down until they die. Once again, the Liandrys actually would have helped here with the Baron, but I think I'm just better off going for pure PvP strength. You can see that I have 12 kills. If my visions go on someone, they are probably going to lose 3/4 of their health if they survive at all. As for that, Scion's doing his ult. I lagged out, so you kind of got a weird show there where he's charging, then pauses, then all of a sudden teleports in front of Kassadin. Yeah. Or Kha'Zix, I mean. Too many Ks, damn it. So you can see right there, Kassadin lost a crap load of health. Wukong goes ahead and takes the initiative, Jarvan follows up, Brand goes down without any assistance from me. But we get the inhibitor tower, we get the inhibitor, and we get to move further in. Now all 5 of us are still up, we have Baron, we're in pretty good health, And I still have my ult. So right there I use my visions to wreak havoc through the minion wave so that they don't even get any comfort through that. I dropped my visions on Braum, and they were enough to kill him, spreading the visions over to Ashe. So you saw how much damage she took, and I also drew tower aggro. Brand went in on me for some reason, but Jarvan just jumped on him, and really that's the end of the game. So Malzahar, a pretty brutal, horribly one-sided game, but lots of action. That's what you guys like, right? Anyway, thoughts and observations in the description. I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.